G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags. Now, this is not the German MiG-15, this is the Russian MiG-15. I know, did the German intro, this is just an example. I've been saying for the last couple of weeks I've been having some glitches since a lighting error was done, and I thought I would show you a really good example of the kind of stuff that I'm having just about every match, and usually at the worst possible time. Pursuing an F-25 in a dive, I'm just on the red line for the engine, and there's the first glitch. Wing snaps off, second glitch, I get one frame in the middle, another frame, and it's resumed, there goes the other wing. This is part of the reason why my content has dropped back to one video every 3 days rather than one video every 2. Errors like that are happening at the worst possible time, and it is causing me a problem trying to get good quality videos to show you guys. So if I sound excited about the new system coming in, that is why. Once the new hardware comes in, that sort of a problem just disappears for me. So, on to what this video is actually about today. Today we're looking at heavy fighters. This is the B6R3, the Bane of the B-17. Now I do love this aircraft. I love the way it handles, I love its firepower, I even love its speed and its manoeuvrability. Everything about it is very, very good. The major problem I have with the aircraft is I'm not good at putting it in the right place at the right time. I have a tendency, if the B-17s are going to bomb the right bases, sure enough I've thought it was a great idea to go to the left base. So I'm constantly finding myself in the wrong, out of position to engage enemy targets, which you can see here. I've actually come from the other side of the map when I realised the B-17 swarms were moving to the bases on the far side, and I'm playing catch up from the word go. Now the armaments of the B6R3, 20 and 30mm cannons with a metric crap ton of ammunition on board, options for air target ammo, which is, I found it to be highly effective on B-17. Some recommend the ground strike ammo or the omni-purpose. I stick with the air target, it's just a preference. Defensive guns, standard defensive guns for 410, twin 50 sticking out the back of questionable effectiveness. And I'm moving in to engage a 4 squad of B-17s from underneath. Now this is not ideal, because it means I am going to be in the firing path of these B-17s. First shot's off, having to engage at over a kilometre's range. Just trying to lead shots into the back of them. One has fallen out of formation. I'm seeing whether or not I can catch it at the moment. Just not quite getting the leads right here. Long range shooting with these 30mm is not ideal. Ideally I like to get inside of 800 metres and just let them have it at point blank range, but when you've set up at the wrong side of the map to begin with, long range shooting is the safest way to go. If you get too close in this situation while you're playing catch up from underneath, those 50 calibers, especially when there's 3 B-17s in formation, you'll have 3 sets of rear defensive gunners coming at you. They will pull you apart if you give them the opportunity. So I'm just trying short bursts here to see if I can work out exactly where I've got a lead for this distance. Give it a little bit more. I'm trying to sever that left wing. Get the right wing. That's alright, that'll do. Leading too low, need to elevate the gun a little and not giving it quite enough ahead. Target taken out from above. Okay, one loose B-17 running away. There's the kill for the first B-17, it's hit the ground. This team was incredibly efficient at taking these things down. And the B6R3 is the reason why the B-17 swarms are starting to dissipate. It's going to be interesting in the next patch to see what the B-17s are going to be like. According to Gaijin, they are making modifications to the B-17's damage model, and they are making modifications to the defensive armament on a B-17. Not the number of guns, but the way they're going to operate. So the next patch will be intriguing. But second B-17 is eliminated, and that was most of the B-17s on the team. There is still one up, but it is being engaged and it's quite a distance off. I'm trying to look for a fresh target and we're running out. However, I find myself in a very lucky position. I have altitude on a F8F that is at very low altitude at the moment. It's cutting the grass. So I position over the top of it. I'm going to try and get a lead shot in and eliminate it while it's low. I won't catch the F8F that's at high altitude, and the B-17 in the distance has just been eliminated. Now, I'm not afraid of bringing the dive in sharp. A lot of people don't realise it, but the ME410 V6R3 is equipped with air brakes, so you can bring it down as steeply as you like, deploy the air brakes at the last second. As you can see, it just pulls the plane right up, prevents an overshoot. Get a critical hit. Back to throttle to pull away, and the D13 secures the kill. And that was pretty much match. The only aircraft remaining on the team at this time, or the enemy team, is the F-8F at high altitude, and it's currently being pursued by about 3 D-13s. So what do you do in this situation when all the targets in the air have been taken out and you can't get the last one? Well, these guns work well against ground targets too, and it would be a pointless effort to not use that ammunition while you have the opportunity. Punching holes in armoured targets with air target belts is not particularly effective, so I take it over to the enemy airbase and start strafing out AAA. Free RP and credits is free RP and credits. So let's go through to the results. So the results for this match: first place for the team, 2 air kills, 2 assists, 1 on one of the B-17s and 1 on the F-8F. 4 ground targets, the Anti-Mech Award, 60,247 Silver Lions and 3,514 research points. Yeah, so not a bad match overall. I don't consider myself to be an expert in the 410 series in general, minus derping around in the first of the 50mm armed ones for a bit of fun. The 410s in general have been a very recent pickup by me. They're a plane that I sort of skipped on my way through due to relatively low interest. I really don't know why I skipped the B6R3, however. This thing is awesome. I just have to learn how to put it in the right position so the B-17s come to me, because it is so much easier to eliminate them when you're not chasing them around the map trying to get the kills. Anyways, let's move on to the next match. Next up is the Do-217 J-2. Now don't adjust your audio volumes, this is another silent recording. I have fixed the issue that showed up in the last video, however I did have 2 recordings that were worth keeping that didn't have any sound on, and this is the second one. Now I'm going to take a second attempt at putting some music on this one. Last time it showed up a little bit loud. It came up okay on my end, but once it went through my encoding software and then went through YouTube's conversion software, not so much. I'm going to try and tweak it and get this a little bit better this time, however. So the J2, it's the big brother to the J1 that new players tend to love to go nose to nose with for some reason. What are the differences between the 2 aircraft? Besides the fact that the J2 was equipped with radar, not a lot. The plane feels and handles almost exactly the same. P-38Q passing below. I just roll this thing over. Now this always surprises the hell out of fighter pilots when they see a DOE engage them in combat. And the fact that the Do-217 is capable of doing this, I still don't understand why I don't see more of them at low levels. This is the B6R3 of Era 2. So I've just rolled the plane over and killed speed. I'm moving in to try and get a lead on the Cobra. Shots in, I get a little bit too much there. Critical hit. Another burst in, just following him through the roll. Now I'm getting ready to break out. I've just been told on comms that an F6F is incoming at the moment. I'm heavily engaged. I can't quite lift the nose enough to get another lead. When I do, the Air Cobra rolls. Pilot is getting smart, and now he's worked it out now. Dive away. I cannot keep up with him in the dive. I cannot keep up with him in the roll. If he pulls a bit of distance and keeps changing direction, this thing will wallow at speed trying to follow. Again, stand it on its side and bring the nose around. Its turning circle is incredibly small, as you can see, easily turning inside of it, and it needs that ability if it's going to be able to intercept fighters like that are rolling in, out and under. And he's got it all worked out how to invade now. But still, I'm going to keep using that big elevator to follow it through the turn. I want to keep this thing in front of me for as long as I can until I see him overcook a dive. I cannot afford to let him get behind me with that 37mm, but still he manages to do it, but he's more interested in running. So I do fly straight for a second before turning it around. I'm going to present these guns to him when he comes back at me with that 37. And I can see he's looping over, getting ready to make his turn, so throttling it over. Got a Spitfire above and behind, but it's being engaged by allies. I try and light up the shot for a nose-to-nose as he does make a pass. However, he is a smarter pilot than I've faced in the past in this. Just keeps enough angle on the nose that all my shots just overshot. Flew straight past, and again tries to engage in the turn battle. Now this is where he's made a mistake. He's lost the turn battle 2 or 3 times. He should realise by now that this thing will outturn him. As funny as it sounds, I will beat him in a short turn every single time. I'll sit on about 300 kilometers an hour, stand on the elevator under combat flaps, and just keep turning back onto him. Now that's not to say that he couldn't beat me in the turn, and I did not give it enough lead there. That should have been a kill shot. Now it's not to say that he couldn't beat me in the turn. Oh, hang on. I dip the nose down. I'm trying to get a lead on again. Miss. Miss, miss, miss. Alright, more hits, and there we go. Finally get him out. Sorry, now back to what I was saying. It's not that he could not actually beat me in that turn. He just couldn't beat me following a standard arc like he was. He would have needed to take it into the vertical and begin making me have to roll the dough. The dough won't roll. It's a big, heavy fighter. It has very low roll rate. This thing got converted to a bomber at the later stages of the war, which is what the 217s down the end of the bomber line are. If he had taken me into a rolling vertical fight, he would have been on very low energy, but he would have energy trapped me if I attempted to follow. He would have been able to just reverse his turn at any time he liked once he got me into that situation, put the 37mm smack bang in between the wings and split the plane into 4 pieces, and there would have been nothing I could do to stop him. So the F6F that was being reported before has decided to come back. I've locked him up. Just checking what the rest of the team's up to. Everybody seems to be doing okay. Now I was flying out in this match with J-2 of Rora Squadron, Combat Wombat from NS, and of course Grievous, who I constantly fly with. He's a constant wingman. Damn good pilot, and I love flying with him. Now the F6F has peeled over to engage those boys, but found itself running into a lot of guns very quickly, so he's ducked back and is now trying to run. I'm moving to try and intercept in a heavy fighter, and that's no easy task. He does peel it over. I try to get a lead, not enough again, just firing too late. The mistake I was actually making here, of course, was I'd been flying on the US server all day, so I'd become accustomed to the US ping. This is actually on the European server, so the ping is around 80 to 100 milliseconds higher, and I'm not anticipating and leading for that ping. So I missed the opportunity for another pass, and I'm very close to stall point here. He pulls it up into the vertical. Now this guy's got the right idea on how to avoid me. He's pulled straight up over the top. He's getting ready to dip back in, so I close and tighten my turn as much as I can to try and get him to spiral in and present a target for my teammates. He dips in onto my tail, so I stand on the elevators again and I roll it over. Just keep it on as hard as I possibly can and just belly flatten it to the ground to pull back out of that dive. That was very close to the ground. It was a very dangerous thing to do, but it bought me the distance that I needed to be able to extend. And as I was trying, presented the target to the rest of my team. Combat Wombat takes a shot and just destroys him as he's trying to follow me through the next turn. But no sooner has he been cleared than a second F6F is diving in. Immediately stand on the elevators and bring it over to the right, present the guns to him again, so if he turns around and tries to nose me, I've got them ready. Smart pilot though, takes it straight into the vertical, so go straight underneath, monitor what he's doing, put it into a massive left-hand bank, bring it around as fast as I can as he overshoots. The rest of my team has just arrived. He goes in and dives through the middle of the swarm. There's a lot of guns in there. I'll give it to that. He was a bloody brave pilot doing that. But it didn't work out well for him. J-2 takes the kill and we form up as a squad to go looking for the last planes on the enemy team. Now we know at least 2 of them are in A-20Gs, there are 3 alive. We are unsure exactly where the 3rd target is. There are, however, ground targets being popped in this direction, so we're going over this way to see where they're at. At this stage in the game, it seems likely the 2 A-20Gs will be working together to bomb and eliminate ground targets. They are ahead of us on tickets, so they're trying to force us down. and whatever the last aircraft is likely going to be playing escort for them. But we also realise with them popping ground targets at the moment, they have to be running low on ammo. So what we're doing is trying to move into a position where we can rapidly intercept anybody trying to return to the base after making their bombing and strafing runs. The J-2 isn't an incredibly fast aircraft. The A-20G is, and we know they have at least one, possibly two. There's the first one, he's just popped up, RTB. Now, as I was saying, the A-20Gs are faster than the J-2 so if we do not intercept them like this, we could be playing a giant game of cat and mouse around the map for the next 20 minutes trying to catch these bloody things. So we've got to get in on them and eliminate them now while we've got the chance. And at this point, they're predictable. We know exactly where they're going to go. They've nearly ran themselves out of nose gun ammo. If they haven't ran themselves out completely, attacking ground targets, they've blown all their bombs, they need a rearm. They've got to go back to their base. And you can see the speed of the A-20G versus the Does. This guy is easily pulling away from my squad mates. Now, I've just positioned myself perfectly for a shot. I'm going to have a very limited window to fall in on his tail and rip the hell out of him. You already see he's pulling away, the distance is increasing, I'm in full wep, I just cannot chase him down. But you cannot outrun bullets. Short bursts, multiple critical strikes on the aircraft, I've blown off the right hand side aileron, I've done critical damage all over the plane. The sort of damage I just applied to the airframe is the kind of damage that makes things like the A-20G incredibly hard to land. And there's the missing fighter, P-39Q. Dip the nose down, he's coming straight at me, he's looking to try and rescue the A-20G. I dip the nose down for extra speed, I want the control authority that comes with the speed at the moment. Take the shot for the lead, pull the trigger. They never learn. Now at this point I'm down to 59 rounds of cannon ammunition left. I'm on 2 kills. I want to just make sure that A-20G is the third. Why the damage is critical and it does make it incredibly hard to land the plane, what I just did to his aircraft, blowing off the right hand side control surfaces, it doesn't mean he's not going to be able to land it. A good pilot will still manage to put the plane down in that sort of condition, so I need to get in close, use the very last amount of ammo that I have on board to make sure when he hits the deck he's not taking off again and he's out of the match. Because at this pace this battle is going, by the time I've gotten back to the runway to get a reload, this battle's going to be over. So getting nice and close, point blank range, light him on fire at point blank. I've still got 2 shells left over, just arc the plane over and fly out of the area. Get out of the AAA before it blasts me. And there's my 3rd kill. Now the last A-20G has now popped up, but it's on approach to the runway too, trying to get back here for a reload, same as the last one. It now has a BF-109, the last of our teammates that isn't in our squad at altitude, is flying an F2, and he has 2 more Do-217s besides myself sitting between me and the runway, or between him and the runway rather. So this was pretty much the end of the match. So let's go check out the results. So, the results for this match. First place for the team with 3 air kills, Teamwork X2, Bomber Rescuer, Fighter Rescuer, Ground Forces Rescuer, Windstreak X3, The Best Squad, Terror of the Sky, and Bulletproof, 54,090 silver lines and 11,560 research points on an X4. So again, a pretty good match. I think you can understand why, even though the sound has been dodgy on this one, this is one that I really did want to keep and I really did want to put up. It was some great teamwork by the guys and it was a pleasure to fly with them in battle, and it was good fun. This was almost a spade match from a nearly stock aircraft to almost complete in one hit. So, the ME410B6R3 and the Do-217 J-2. Like them or hate them, you cannot deny the effectiveness of German heavy fighters and carrying superior firepower into the battleground. These things are a joy to fly, and if you can get them in the right position at the right time, they will destroy everything they face. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.